Welcome to the National Women's Fitness Academy podcast. We're here to talk about women's health, female hormones, body image, and all things health and fitness.
Hello girls, and welcome back to another episode of the Women's Fitness Academy's podcast. I'm your host, Siggy, one of the WFA's educators and a women's online coach. Today, I am joined by Abby. Abby, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So good to have you. Before we started recording, we've literally just been going deep into Abby's history of training. And I was just like, hold on a second. We need to record this stuff because everyone needs to hear this. So I've pressed record and we're going to start talking about the stuff that we've been talking about. So Abby, before I continue blubbering on, can you please tell our listeners where you're from? What is it currently that you're doing and what made you become a coach?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Abby. I live up here in Brisbane, but I originally was from Melbourne. Then I moved all the way to New South Wales, lived there for a bit, and yeah, seem to be working my way up the ranks. So we'll go with Queensland for now. I own Avitude Fitness, and my sole purpose with that is to help educate women about their bodies, help teach them how to become strong and understand that, you can eat food. It doesn't need to be your enemy. And I work with Ellen at Lotus Health Co. I work as a coach there as well. And I also work as a CrossFit coach out at a gym in Brisbane. So super busy at the moment, but I love it. You hear the sayings we need to learn how to slow down, and that is definitely something I do need to work on. But I love having things to do, being busy. So yeah, that's where I'm at the moment. And the whole reason I got into the fitness industry started when I was about 16. When I was at school, when I was a bit younger, I got bullied for being overweight. And when you look back at it, you think at the time, they were actually they were boys that bullied me. And you think, oh, they're my friends. It's okay. It's just a joke. But, if you hear something enough, you're truly going to believe that, and you're going to start to be oh my God, so the whole reason I got into fitness, my mum was right into it at the time. So I went to my mum and I said, look, this is happening. And she obviously joined me up to a gym, and I didn't go with my mum. I went with some friends, and you have no idea what you're doing when you first join up to a gym when you're that young. So for about a year or so, I was just cruising on the cardio machines, doing my ab workouts. But the thing is that made me feel better about myself. So I just kept doing that. I knew no better. And then my best friend at the time, he actually was really heavily into the gym. And he actually joined the gym that I was going to. And he was the whole reason that I actually got into lifting weights and understanding why it is so beneficial for your body and why women should do it too. But of course, if he wasn't there, there's no way I was going into the weights room. So it was every now and then that I would do it. Where are we at now? Oh, and then I turned 18, and I was still not happy with myself, still low self-confidence. When I look back at it, I would never ever call myself overweight or what those boys considered overweight. So ridiculous. Kids can be so mean. But I'm thankful in a way that I did get into the gym because it's taken me to where I am today. But yeah, I actually went and joined CrossFit when I was 18. At the start, I hated it. I was why the hell am I doing this? This is the worst thing ever. And then I started getting PTs and learning how to do the movements properly. And I started to get good at it because I was doing it all the time, and fell in love with it. And then I became too obsessed with it. So I went the other way. It was just so crazy. I was I was in such a good place, and then about 2 years in, I got super duper obsessed with it. If I wasn't good at something, I would stay after my class, and even though I was exhausted, I would practice, minimal fuel in my body. I never tracked my macros until I joined with Ellen. I did try, but I found no interest in it, and obviously I had no education around it at the time, so I was just no, I'm not going to do that. But I was only eating clean foods, and really watching the portion sizes, what I thought was right. And then I was training twice a day. I'd go home, and then my parents would be they're always so moody, or what's wrong with you? You're going too far. Like they're only seeing the bad side of me. And of course that's what they're going to get. Like it's, at the end of the day. And then I moved out of home, and I was still obviously at CrossFit and everything. And I decided I was going to do my certs. And I completed my certs, but by the end of my certs, I sat down with myself and was sort of like, oh, like, do I really want to be teaching people? At that point, I wasn't really looking for, a niche, which is sort of like everybody and anybody. I was like, do I really want to be teaching people? Like, I'm not even like healthy myself. I was trying to, without even noticing it, when I look back, like I was trying to get that scale number really low, but I thought like, even if the scale number was low, like I would still be like super duper strong. Like, and obviously they're both just contradicting goals there. Like I wanted to be like the strongest in the room, but I also wanted to be like the skinniest in the room. So like it didn't have much education around it. I sat down and I took a break for about a year, in terms of like, I just worked in like a pickpacker thing. And I was like, do I really want to? And then I actually started to develop like a healthy relationship. I learned how to step back from it. I just like went to like training like 5 times a week rather than like 7 days a week, and been crazy. I actually learned how to like start counting my macros and understanding why protein was important. I didn't dive too much into the nutrition side of things then, but like starting to learn how to look after my body a little bit better, recovery and everything like that. Then I actually went and did my certs again because I felt like I really wanted to understand the whole training thing, and I did it with a different company. Because when I look back now, the first company I did it with, they were cheap, but the education platform was just like ridiculous. Like there was so much information. I didn't even know where to start. I didn't know what to pull out. I didn't know what was important. I did my certs again. And then 2020 was fully qualified. And honestly haven't looked back since. But, as you grow, your goals sort of change. So at the moment, I think from being so invested in the training side of things, when Ellen gave me the opportunity to work with Lotus Health Code, that really opened up my eyes to nutrition. And like there's so much more to the health and fitness industry to just training. Like as everybody knows that listening, or not everybody, but most people listening to this podcast should know, like everything comes down to like how you feel, your nutrition, are you recovering well? Yes, you're training. Like, are you moving outside of your training? Like, you never ever think of those when you first get into the gym. And now I am studying with the National Women's Fitness Academy, doing my master's. And I think, after this, I really want to start taking more of an interest in women's health, particularly like pre and postnatal, and working with women around pregnancy and how their body works. And now here we are.
So good. I love that. To be honest, you brought up so many points and I was just like, oh my God, we need to talk about this. Oh my God, we need to talk about this. But you made a really good point when you started your CrossFit journey, very similar to weight training, is you started it and you hated it.
Yeah.
And the reasoning, well, I don't know, like the reasoning for it, from what it sounds like, is because you didn't have the right education around it to actually, be able to manipulate your body doing the certain movements that CrossFit does. And this goes back to weight training in the gym as well. So many of us enter the gym, we have no freaking idea what we're doing. And then we just leave and we're like, nah, this isn't for me. Like, I'm just giving up. And it's just such a good point that you've made, that after you got the education, the lessons through the coaches, now you absolutely love it. And over that transition, you've noticed that progress that you've made as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, I actually feel like when you look back at it, you probably hear this like all the time, but people go to the gym, relating it back to being bullied. I was going to the gym because I was like, oh, I have to lose weight. And then I did start to enjoy it a little bit, but then I got really bored. And then like, if my friend wasn't there for the weight, I was like, no, I don't want to do it. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, so yeah, exactly right. Like if you invest in a coach, or if you invest in somebody that is going to be able to help you sort of start your journey, like you're never going to look back, because all the time that you waste, like, excuse my language, but like dicking around in the gym doing nothing, like having no idea, and you have no idea, like you could have just invested that money. Yes, it may cost a little more than you had hoped, but you invest that money, you get the right technique, you get the right tips, and then you can be like, all right, I think I'm okay for now. You go away, you use them, and then when you feel like you need more, you can come back to that person, or even try somebody else if you know they want your cup of tea. But yeah, that's the biggest thing that I think I could stress to women is like, do not be afraid to ask for help. Like, go and get a PT, or go and get a workout buddy, or somebody that's more experienced than you are in the gym, so you have that guidance. Like, it's so important. Like, I went to the gym the other day. I actually joined up to like just a regular gym, just because I am focusing like a little bit more on strength at the moment rather than like CrossFit. And I was walking around the gym, and like, I wear glasses, but I didn't bring my glasses in with me. And I'm like walking around the gym like this, like trying to figure out what all the machines are. And like, I felt like such a newbie. And even that, like, I'm very experienced in the gym, but I was just like, oh my God, like, I look like an idiot. Like, I was giving myself anxiety, but there was no need to. Like, no one was looking at me. But that's probably, you know, how every single girl that's just joined up to the gym feels when they're walking in there. Like, it's so daunting.
Isn't that interesting that we have these thoughts in our heads that we just look so ridiculous doing a certain thing, but literally when you look around, no one is looking at you.
No one, yeah.
Literally no one is looking at you. And it's cool that you brought that up, because a few weeks ago I was doing a certain exercise and I just felt really uncomfortable doing it, and I literally just stopped. I was just like, I'm not doing this. I look ridiculous. People are watching me. And I got off the machine and I noticed there were only 2 people in the gym, and I'm like, no one's looking at me. Like, why am I stressing all of these thoughts? And in terms of psychology and like research, they've shown that 85% of our negative thoughts that we perceive in our head, only 15% of them come true.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Which is crazy.
It's crazy. Hey, like, there's another saying in relation to like that thing, and it's like, when you think you're done, you're only 40% done. Like, it's just like, it's the mind. Like, if you can train the mind to be strong and like not give a crap about everyone else, like, you will be strong. Like, that's what it comes down to, is like, yes, you need to work on, you know, your outside, your physical health and everything like that, but like, inner health is so important as well. Like, that's the biggest thing that I'm constantly learning. Like, you know, when it comes to like recording yourself in the gym, or like you said, trying to do exercise. Like, of course, I still have days where I'm like, oh, probably not going to put the tripod up because that's embarrassing. But you do it anyway because you're like, oh, I have a coach. My coach wants to see it. So you do it anyway. But yeah, no, of course, it's still daunting. Like, even though we're professionals, like, you still feel like, oh my God, everyone's watching me.
Yeah, it's so true. But you know what? I find that even those days that you don't do so well, you still need to put that up to show people that, hey, you are not perfect. You're not a superwoman who gets everything done every day. You have your slip ups, you have your moments, you sometimes cry, you sometimes just lay in bed and not go to the gym. Like, we need to have people resonate with our own story as well, and making them realize, hey, it's not just you, it's all of us.
Of course. Yeah. Like, you know, the thought process behind all that, like, when I first met my partner, I actually met him at CrossFit, and then we moved up to Brisbane and everything like that. And then COVID happened, and I obviously wasn't going to the gym as much. We did buy a few home things, but obviously it's just not the same as like when you go to a gym like that. And then my body image, like, I wouldn't call it like body dysmorphia. I'd call it body image. Like, with myself, like, what I was seeing in the mirror, I was like, I know I'm healthy. Like, I know I'm fit. Like, I exercise, I move daily, I eat my like whole foods, I have some soul foods, like, you know, the basics. But I would look in the mirror, and every day I'd say to my partner, I hate this language, but like, you know, I'd look in the mirror and be like, am I fat? And he'd be like, oh my God. And then it got to a point where he was like, you need to sort this out because like, it's driving me insane. Like, I am sick to death of hearing this question. And like, that's when I sort of went, okay, like, I need to work on my mental health as well, because like, you know, you think you fix something and all of a sudden something triggers it. And you're like, oh crap. So I like, the biggest thing I tell my ladies is like, you know, what you think you see on the bad days. Like, yesterday you had a good day and you felt great. So like, why do you feel like this today? Like, what did you do yesterday that's going to make you feel like this today? Or why are you seeing yourself like that today? Because you know, in your head, there's no difference. Like, you know, there's no difference, but your mind is like creating these scenarios like in your head. That was another turning point for me. That was probably only like last year, where I was like, oh my God, like, it's popping back up again. Like, I need to work on this. And honestly, like, it's so crazy to notice your own growth as well. Like, you know, where you started from, where you got to, then you sort of have like, this doesn't always happen, but I would call it like a little relapse where I like was like back in that hole again. And now I'm like even further on top. Like I don't really think that. And if I do, I just say to my partner, oh, like I'm having a bad day today, I don't feel good today. And then he'll just remind me of like why I do look good. Like, it's always good to have a like good support system around as well. And like me as a coach, like if my women come to me and they say like, oh, I'm having a bad day, oh, the scale was heavy today, oh, blah, blah, blah. Like you just like got to tell them, this is all stuff that like the media portrays as well. Like, the scale weight, or you need to be this size, or you need to eat this many calories. And you really don't realize as a coach how much it is still being thrown out there.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, your clients are coming to you and saying this stuff. And you're like, oh, wow, it actually really still is happening out there. Because, we fill our feeds. I was actually talking to Ellen about this the other day. We fill our feeds with, like, people that, like, uplift us and the same things that we agree with and stuff like that. Or, other people are maybe filling their feeds with, like, all right, you need to do this 8-week challenge at this, like, 1,200 calorie diet, and that's the only way. And the whole feed starts popping up with those people. So it's like, you really don't realize it, that it's still out there sometimes.
Yeah. It's crazy to think because it's like we're in 2020. Oh my God, I was going to say 2021. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, it's not 2021. We are in 2022. Whoa. That is crazy. Anyway, 2022, I agree with you because there's still information out there that perceives people, especially women, that the only way for them to see progress is through the scales, through photos. And it's funny because I literally did a post about this on Instagram the other evening, making women realize that, hey, it's not just the weight and photos, it's everything else. It's like your food, it's your mental health, it's you being able to socialize and having confidence, it's you having, high sex drive, it's you doing other stuff that you wouldn't really consider till you actually dive deeper. And it sounds by things that you do that as well with your clients.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I still on the daily, you hear clients saying, oh, but my weight went up this week. But then you go and look at their measurements or something and then you read their check-in and they're like, oh, I feel so good this week. You look at their progress photos, like you can see a little bit of change. You look at their measurements. You're like, yeah, but your weight went up, but look at your measurements. Like they're coming down, and like I tell them every week. Like there's ladies you have to constantly remind. Like that scale weight is can't think of the word, affected by so many factors. Like that's just one little minor thing that we can gauge progress off. Like, and that's like probably the thing I put at the bottom personally, because I do have a negative relationship with that scale. So like you go off how you feel, how you're moving, how you're recovering, sleeping well, like all those kind of things. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's crazy to think how like you and I, we've been through this journey that we have been affected by the scales, and how every time we would step on it, we would look at it and just literally perceive our self-worth because of a certain number. But like you said, many women come to us and it's not just about the scales. Like, yes, it is a form of progression, but as long as we're teaching them and making them realize, hey, it's only one aspect of everything else that you're doing. And you know what? It also comes down to education. Like letting the client know, hey, you went up in the scale by 500 grams because maybe you just haven't taken a shit, or maybe a period is about to arrive and you're just feeling a little bit bloated, or you had a heavy training session the day before. Once we start opening their eyes and making them realize, hey, it's not actually body fat, it's water retention or whatever, then the mindset changes a little bit.
Sure. I mean, like I have this lady, she wouldn't mind me sharing her story, but she's she came to me and she was skinny but held quite a lot of body fat around her stomach, and that was obviously a problem for her. And I said to her, like, you've just come off eating restricted calories, you're going to have to trust me, like this is probably going to be a little bit of a slower approach. And like week after week she's like, I do feel good, but the scale's not going down, like nothing's happening. And there was a bit there, like, she was just like this, like nothing was happening. And then all of a sudden I was like, all right, you're due for like a diet break. Let's have a diet break and let's like increase your calories and see how we go. And like her body, when we increased the calories, like adapted so well that weight started dropping, everything started coming in, and she was like, this is the best thing ever. And like, I love telling her story because like she just allowed me, to trust me and be like, okay, it's not just the scale that matters. There's so much more to my health. And every week I was telling her, like, this is what's going to happen. You obviously keep your clients good communication. That's the key. You keep them in the loop and let them know. And now we're at a point, like, she's literally like, she's not even trying to, she's eating like nearly 2,100 calories, like just over. And she's got like abs popping through, she's got the obliques, and like that was a goal for her. So like it's really good to see. And like she's not having to restrict while she's achieving the goal she wanted. So like that's like the biggest thing. I lost track. I've just gone on a tangent. I forgot the end
with the scale.
Yeah, the scale. That's kind of the biggest thing with the scale. Like her body weight has gone down, but she's eating more food. And like you hear so many stories like that. But what people don't realize is like that takes time. Like it's not just going to be like, all right, we're going to increase your food and that scale's going to go down. Like you have to be able to sit in it for the long haul. Like I think that's taken us 6 months to sort of get to that point. And they're like now, like it's unreal the progress that she's seeing, and she was just able to trust me. And like it's unfortunate because sometimes people don't always want to put their full trust in you. You do all you can, or you think that you can, and then you sometimes have people get to the end of the, we sort of run at Lotus, Ellen sort of runs it in like a 12-week book, get to the end of that and then they're like, oh no, it's not working, it's not for me. And which is really sad because you want them to continue on further than 12 weeks so you can help them, educate them. And then eventually, yes, get them on their own because you don't want them to be with you forever. As sad as it is to say goodbye, but once you've gotten to a place where they're comfortable and they know what they're doing, that means you've done your job well. So
yeah, exactly. And I find that so true regarding having that rapport with your clients and that trust. I think that's a really big one, because if a client doesn't trust you or there's some form of like miscommunication, you're better off just ending the relationship there, or even just being honest with the client, bringing up that conversation, being like, hey, are you trusting in me to help you with this process? And putting it back on them, because again, you can't read, well, no one can read people's minds, so you don't know what's going on. And I love the fact that you mentioned that, hey, this wasn't a quick process, it was 6 months. And you know what? She's probably still working on certain areas in her mindset to progress her further.
Sure. Like, of course, she still has days where she'll message me, like not even her check-in day. She'll just message me and be like, oh, like, I'm struggling today. I feel really fluffy today. And then the next day she's like, oh my God, scratch that, I feel good. Like she still has days like where she like, doesn't feel great, but like, so do I. Like I wake up some days and I feel crappy, and like, that's just how it is. Like, we're human. The human brain works in many ways. So like,
especially women, you know what? Like as women, it's not only that we go through a monthly cycle, it's a daily freaking cycle, guys. Like daily, your hormones, your moods. You can't be your energetic self on a 24/7 clock. Like
seriously, hey, I had a day the other day when I went into the gym, and I think I had like maybe 5 cancellations, and it left me with like 2 in the afternoon. And because it is so far away, generally when that happens, I'll ring the ladies and say like, hey, can we like reschedule something? But then I was obviously out there, so we did it. And one of my ladies walked in and like, I thought I was like, hey, how you going? And she's like, good, you look like you've had enough. And I was like, oh, I was like, okay. I was like, well, I'm flustered, but like I didn't think my facial expressions were showing it that much. But yeah, and she was like, oh, you're normally just so bubbly. Like, and I thought, well, yeah, but there is times where I'm like, and I just explained it to her, and I was like, to be honest, like, and she was like, oh no, I fully get that, like people understand people, but if you come across as like aggressive or something like that, then that's when people are like, oh my God, like she's like.
Yeah, you know what? I find that really cool to chat about, because too often we will put a mask on, pretending as if we are okay. Sometimes that makes things a little bit more difficult as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think the biggest thing, like going back to that mind, allowing yourself to feel upset or like allowing yourself to feel stressed, but then like the biggest thing is like how are you going to respond to that situation, or how are you going to like change it for the better, or what can you do to make it better, rather than sitting there like, oh, this is the worst day of my life, this is never going to get better. Like, that's obviously not going to help you. And that's the biggest thing I think people need to work on, especially women, when they're stressed, or when they're running around like a headless chook or something. Like, what can you do to minimize that stress and, like, make it easier for you, and then declog your mind. If you need to write it out, you need to like sit down and chat with someone and just like verbally like get it out of your system. Like, yeah, we bottle so many things up, and like mental health has so much to do with like your physical health as well. Like, it's
lots of it. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because before we started recording, we were talking about how health is not just a certain look, it's a feeling.
Yeah, for sure. I think that the biggest thing is like, health for me is how you feel in your own skin and body. Like, are you confident? Like, can you rock what you want to rock? It's not so much about like focusing on the look side of things, because there's so much more to like looks than a person. Like, we all have a look. We all look a certain way, and like they're all different. Everybody looks different. But like, when you set goals, can you achieve those goals? And like, are they realistic for you? Are they going to make you feel good? Like, that is health for me. Like, I don't think health should be put down to a scale number. And honestly, like, I do have some women that come to me and be like, oh, I don't want to do the measurements either, because I see the numbers go up and down sometimes, and I think, oh, I'm not making progress. I'm like, cool, let's start from like literally ground zero. Don't even worry about them. It's just, even if you want to try with the progress photos for yourself, you don't even need to share them with me right now. And when you feel confident, we'll build up to those numbers. Like, honestly, the point of my story there is, the biggest thing is like, the scale is like the least of your concerns, ladies. Like, honestly, stop stressing about that scale. And like, it took me like a solid 6 months to get out of the, oh my God, I need to weigh myself. Like, I need to know what my weight is. Like, I actually went for like 6 months without weighing myself, because it was just like messing with my head. And then when I got back on the scales finally, I was like, oh, I didn't even change in like that 6 months. Like, nothing even really happened. Like, and now like I weigh myself maybe like 2 to 3 days, but I'm in a good spot right now, and it's not affecting me when I jump on that scale. Like, some days it's like 2 kilos up, and I'm like, okay, it's like, what did I do yesterday? Like, and then the next day it's like back down to where it started, and I'm like, okay, well, we're still at the same spot.
Yeah, it's so relatable to other aspects of tracking progress as well, like in terms of energy and fatigue as well. Like, women, making them realize that, cool, like, why have you woken up tired the next day? Like, what did you do previously? Again, like, it goes back to like, was it a big day of work? Were you doing extra work? Did you go to bed late? Did you eat late? Like, all these things like factor in, and a lot of people don't realize it till you map it out for them and making them realize it.
Yeah, of course. Like, I had this lady, and she is like crazy. Like, she will like just go. And then she'll come to me and like, the Whoop bands, everyone's like fussing over the Whoop bands at the moment. And she'll send me her recovery, and it's like in the red. And I'm like, man, like, what did you do this week? Break it down for me. And she's like, I trained CrossFit 6 days. I went to work. Like, she is on her feet all day. Like, gets home at like 6 p.m. Then she has to cook dinner for her and her boyfriend. And then she's literally back up at 5 a.m. again. Like, she's literally just like no wind down time. And I said, okay, did you have a rest day? She's like, yeah, Sunday. I'm like, what did you do? She's like, oh, I went for a 10K walk. I'm like, maybe like a 3K? Like, 10K is crazy. Like, so helping women understand that like, you need to just like slow it down. Like, you need to pay attention to your body signals, how you feel. Like, are you moving like you moved like 3 weeks ago? Like, do you still feel that good? Like, are you coming up to your period? That's probably why you're feeling a little bit crappy and you're not moving as well. All those things come into it.
Yeah, everything factors in there. And it just shows you how the scales, again, is just like this minor little thing of you noticing, of you making a progress.
Yeah, seriously. Like, I honestly wish that, like, I'm sure every fitness professional, that stands for like these kind of values, which they could just like pick that scale up and like snap it and start from ground zero again. Like, just like explaining to everybody, not even women, like, of course some men struggle with that scale number as well. And like explaining to them, this is how we're going to do it. This is how it works. And, like, you just have to trust the process, because like, even like, my partner, a great example of a man, like, he's not body conscious or anything like that. But like, if that scale number goes up every now and then, he's like, what? How? Like, what do you mean? Like, I don't understand. Like, and you try and help them understand, but because they're, you know, you see on social media all the time, like all of these contradicting things. Sometimes he still questions me and he's like, how do you know that that's right? I'm like, well, like all of this scientific research behind it. But yeah, like I wish we could just all start from like ground zero again and like teach everybody the same way, the healthy way, and like, you know, not in the restrictive way.
What are some of like the main like 2 or 3 ways that you go about it?
In terms of like starting again, like having everyone. Yeah, I would definitely number one, like I feel like the way everyone gets into the health and fitness industry is like training. Like I feel like most stories you hear is like, oh, I've started going to the gym, but I don't know what I'm doing. Like the biggest thing there would be like, go and hire a coach. Like you will never regret investing your money into a coach or a personal trainer, whatever you want to call it. Like you will not regret it. You have that knowledge and you can even share that knowledge with your friends or your family, like, you know, somebody else that might be struggling. Definitely like your nutrition, like you don't need to be a serial macro tracker or anything like that, but like going in again, like maybe investing in a coach, or even if your PT is qualified, maybe has a certificate in nutrition, can help you understand like macros a little bit better or calories a little bit better and why it's important. That would definitely be number 2. And like number 3 would just be like going off like how you feel and you know, surrounding yourself with like a good support system and not like being like, oh, but I seen that person do this and that's how I'm meant to be kind of thing. Like understand like your goals and your values and like then go and find your support group or like, you know, surround yourself with people that have the same outlook on life, because that's when you start to grow. Like you hear it all the time, like especially like obviously I use this in the term with women, like surround yourself with women like that have the same goals, the same values as you, because you're going to chat about it, you're going to bounce ideas off each other, like you're probably going to become really good friends. Like it's just like that's the biggest thing, like getting a good support system, I think, because doing anything on your own is super hard. And especially like when I got into the gym, you know, I was actually speaking about it with my mum the other day. So my mum is another reason I did get into the gym, because she was so into it. And now she's actually come to me to ask for coaching. So that's like, I feel honored. It's like really great. But, you know, I've been trying to help her because I didn't know back then, I was a little bit younger, but she was telling me the other day, like the way she did things. And I was like, wow, like she was not doing it healthy. Like, you know, she lost quite a lot of weight, but it wasn't in a way that was sustainable. Like her PT at the time was had her on 1,000 calories a day, and she was only meant to count calories. Like that was the most important thing. You know, and making sure that she went to the gym and went for a walk, like did all those kind of things like every single day. So and just even now, because my mum obviously was an adult when that happened, changing her mindset now to like what I know and like what I'm educated around and stuff, she's still like, wow, this is so crazy. Like, this is so different. And this is so sustainable. This is so much funner. Like, it's, you know, and it's insane to see. But at the time, she had nobody around her that understood what she was trying to do. And of course, like if your PT tells you you need to eat 1,000 calories, she's going to be like, oh, okay, I'm going to eat 1,000 calories, because she had no one else around her to sort of help her with that. But now that she does, it's a completely different journey. Like she's got people that understand, like she wants to lose weight. She wants to feel better about herself. She wants to move, and like we're just doing it in a very slow, sustainable approach that's going to fit her lifestyle. Like that's the biggest thing. Support system. Yeah.
I love that. It's so good. Again, it comes down to sustainability with the client and making it able to fit their lifestyle, instead of having them to do so many things and then getting overwhelmed, not trusting you, hating you, and leaving and going, oh my God, that was the worst experience. And then they have this like bad idea in their head that every coach is the same.
Yeah, for sure. That's what she did say that to me, actually. She said it's so different. Like she goes, obviously, like, you know, you're my daughter. She goes, but I trust you. Like, I know you're doing it for the right reasons. Like, I'm not just another number. And that's how I want all my clients to feel. Like, despite her being my mum, yes, of course, like I will treat her. I still treat her like my client. So when she checks in, I make it very clear that she needs to treat me like her coach. Like I'm not her daughter on that platform. And just like all my other clients, like, yeah, I can be your friend as well. But when you check in, like I'm your coach, and what I say to you, like I'm trying to help you. And I would never, ever say anything or do anything to send you in the opposite direction of your goals. Like that's the last thing I want. And, you know, all my clients that come to me, I want them to achieve their goals just as much as they want to achieve them.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the whole reason we're in this like industry.
Well,
we love it.
To help and make, you know, change people's lives.
Exactly right. Like, I honestly get a high when someone comes in and they're like, oh my God, like my dress size felt smaller today. I wasn't so tight. Like, I'm like, oh my God, like it's so exciting. Like, when you get excited, you can see how much they're like, oh my God, crap, she cares. Like, it's so exciting. And yeah, just to have somebody else that feels like they care. And it's not just like a friend or a family member, like there's an outsider as well. That's important as well.
Yeah, it makes such a big difference. I totally agree with you. Oh my God. Speaking of helping more women, how can our listeners find you? How can they work with you?
Awesome. So I actually do have a blog. I don't think many people know about it, but like I do post some stuff up there. So you can find me on Instagram. It's Habitude_fitness. And all of the stuff is in my bio. So basically I have like you can find my blog in there as well. So my blog is just for women that like, might be sitting on the fence about not knowing if they want to do training, if they want to get into the whole thing, and like maybe they can read about it and understand like, oh wow, okay, we can do this as well. Like there's a few blog posts on there that you could read through. But yeah, primarily you can find me on Instagram or Facebook. But on Facebook it's just Habitude Fitness, no underscore.
I love it. Awesome. So good. And what's the plan for March?
Well, honestly, I do have some exciting news, but I can't share it just yet.
Okay, don't share that yet. Don't share that.
I do have some exciting news. So obviously I'm here with you. So that was super exciting with me to be able to come on here and, talk with you and hundreds of other ladies. And tomorrow, the exciting news may or may not happen. And then I really just like want to focus on like work this coming year. Obviously last year was a bit up in the air with shutdowns with COVID, and I am lucky enough to be online with Lotus, but I would really love to get Habitude up in the air and focus a little bit more on that, because I did start off last year focusing on it and then I just like let it go during COVID. So yeah, primarily focusing on Habitude as well.
Love it. So good. Well, girls, stay tuned to the big news. Who knows what's to come? Make sure that you follow Abby's page to find out. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed today's conversation. I definitely got lots from it. And if you liked it, recommend it, share it, screenshot it, tag us at the Women's Fitness Academy, tag myself, tag Abby. And then till next time, make sure that you don't, I just lost the thought in my head. You finish that up for me.
I was so focused on what you were saying, but yeah, until next time, maybe just like keep working on that mindset, keep working on being the best version of you.
Yes, love it. Be the best version of you, girls. See you next time.